Forza Horizon 5, we have many cool cars. But did you know that some of these cars actually share parts with slightly less cool cars? Well, in today's video, I'll be going through 20 of them, so let's hit 4,000 likes on this video if you wanna— Oh my god, there's a flying Citroen CX door mirror, what's going on? Hello, it is I, and let's get to this video. Now, the McLaren F1 has these really iconic doors. I mean, look at that, that's amazing. And fun fact about these doors, they were actually inspired by a Toyota. Yep, the Toyota Serra actually introduced these doors. And on the topic of doors, the door mirrors themselves actually come from the Volkswagen Corrado. So yeah, man, if you drive a Volkswagen Corrado, then if you look in the rearview mirror, then you're basically seeing what a McLaren F1 owner would see. Now, this is the Noble M400, which is a British car. Now, you might be thinking, oh, they probably shared parts with another British car, right? But no, in fact, they took parts from a car that's not even sold in the UK, because their taillights on this car actually come from a Hyundai Sonata, or a Hyundai Sonata. I don't know how you pronounce it. Hyundai, I don't know. But yeah, these are from a yeah, they're from a Sonata, okay? They're from a Sonata. And I'm 99% sure that those cars are not sold over here, so yeah. Now, this is the Mitsubishi Evo 10, which is noticeably bigger than all the other Evos. Now, you might be wondering, why is that the case? Well, the reason why is because this car actually shares its chassis with the Dodge Caliber. Yep, that crossover for SUV vehicle, I don't know what you'd call that, but that vehicle has the same chassis as the Mitsubishi Lancer from this generation, which explains why this Lancer is such a big chunk as compared to all the other Lancers which have come out. Now, this is the NA Mazda MX-5, and do you recognize these door handles? I mean, no, not these ones, but these ones. Do you recognize those ones? Well, believe it or not, they are from the Aston Martin DB7, or in fact, it's the other way around. The Aston Martin actually used Mazda MX-5 door handles. So yep, if you want an Aston Martin, but you don't want an Aston Martin, then get yourself the Mazda MX-5. Now, the MG X-Power SV is a very cool car, and you can even get this car with a nitrous kit and 1000 horsepower. Allegedly. But the funniest thing about this car has to be the headlights, because those headlights are actually taken from a Fiat Punto. Yep, those are Punto headlights, and yeah, it actually looks pretty cool on a car like this. Now, this is the Mazda RX-7 FD, and if you look on the back of the car, do you recognize these rear reflectors? Because they were actually used by a certain hypercar, as Koenigseggs used it on their CCX. Yep, those are literally RX-7 rear reflectors, and yeah, man, that's crazy. They literally use RX-7 parts on a Koenigsegg, and yeah. Now, this is the Audi RS6 Avant. It's not an Avant, it's a sedan, but yeah, it's an Audi RS6, and if you hop inside this car and sit down, well, have a look at the steering wheel. I mean, this steering wheel might be familiar if you're a Lamborghini fan, because this steering wheel was used in the Gallardo. If you own an RS6 Avant or an RS4 or any Audi RS car from this era, then you're basically driving a Lamborghini. Now, the Lamborghini Diablo used to come with these pop-up headlights, but later down the line, they replaced them with these sleek-looking headlights. Now, you might be wondering, where on earth do these headlights come from? Like, surely they must originate from a car, and you're not thinking that, because everybody knows where these headlights come from, as they come from the Nissan 300 ZX, or ZX, but ZX sounds cooler. But believe it or not, these headlights were actually featured on an even cooler car than a Diablo, as they were also featured on this, the Nissan R390. Yep, this like race car looking thing. I mean, it's a race car basically. Yeah, this car has 300 ZX headlights. So yeah, man, the more you know. Now, this is the BMW M1, which is one of the first supercars ever made. But what you may not know, I mean, you might know about this, I didn't until recently, is that the taillights actually come from the 6 Series and 7 Series. Yep, it's like so glaringly obvious. Like, now that I look at it, I can't unsee it. But back in the day, I was like, oh, these are like, yeah, it's a cool looking car. But yeah, it's so crazy. These come from a 6 Series and the 7 Series. Oh my days. Now, this is the Maserati Gran Turismo, and if you look down, well, look at the radio controls. Now, they might look familiar to you because those are actually taken from a Peugeot. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure which Peugeot this comes from, but it's a Peugeot, so yeah. The Maserati Gran Turismo is powered by a Ferrari engine with a Peugeot interior. Yeah, no wonder these cars are unreliable as shit. Now the Jaguar XJ220 was the fastest car in the world in 1992, and it actually used Rover 200 taillights, look at that! Which is probably the fastest that these taillights have ever been. Yeah. Oh, and also the door mirrors on this car are actually shared with the Citroen CX, and basically every sports car from this era shared its door mirrors from the Citroen CX. It's a very like universal door mirror, so yeah. Now this is the Koenigsegg CC8S, which I believe is the first production Koenigsegg, I think. And the funny thing about this car is if you open up the engine bay, which I don't think you can actually open up in this game. Anyways, this car actually shares its engine with the Ford Crown Victoria. Yep, and you can actually look at the engine over here. I mean, obviously it's not the exact same engine, they like modified it a bit so that it could produce a little bit more power. Now the 911 is seen as a proper Porsche and the Cayman is seen as the poor man's Porsche. But what you may not know is just how many similarities the 911 shares with the Cayman counterpart. Okay, so we're in the 911 right now and look at the door cards, okay, have a good look at it, memorize it. And now we're in the Cayman and have a look at the door cards and yeah, they're literally identical. Now, European spec Murciélagos come with these triangular indicator lights on the side of your car. Oh, look at the sunshine. Ka-chow, ka-chow. Oh, sorry. But yeah, those indicator lights are actually taken from a pretty ordinary car, as they actually come from this. Yep, the Mark 1 Ford Focus. So yep, if you drive a Focus and you turn on your indicators or your blinkers, yeah, then everyone's basically looking at Lamborghini Murciélago, kind of. Like, I don't know what kind of logic that is, but yeah. Now the BMW Z4 M40i is of course powered by BMW's B58. Yep, now I think you guys know what's coming next, because the Toyota Supra is also powered by a B58, which is, you know, everybody knows this. But I find it so weird that they basically made no attempt to cover this up apart from replacing the badges. I mean, you can literally put the BMW's engine cover on the Toyota and the Toyota's engine cover on the BMW, like it's like Lego. Now the TVR Supra is a very cool car, but did you know that it actually shares its parts from another car? Because it does! Oh, for God's sake, but not this version. Okay, the original TVR Supra, their taillights actually come from the Ford Fiesta. Yep, the Supra actually uses 3rd generation Fiesta taillights, but they're behind another glass cover, so it really disguises it. But yeah, the Fiesta taillights are actually used on the TVR sports car, so yeah, the more you know. Now, the Pagani Zonda is one of the coolest looking cars in the world, and it has a really cool looking interior as well. I'm gonna look at the carbon fiber, the Alcantara, the leather, and the climate controls. Well, believe it or not, those climate controls are actually from the Rover 75. Yep, they just plopped this into the Zonda and called it a day, and to be honest, it actually looks pretty cool and it's very iconic. Now, this is the Jaguar XJR15, which is a car which many people don't know about. And if you're one of these people, then you definitely would not know about the taillights, because those taillights are actually taken from a Mazda 626. Yep, that car actually has these like light bar kind of taillights which sort of span across the whole back of the car, but Jaguar decided to take either side of the taillights, like the working parts of the taillights, and put it on their XJR15. So yep, that's a very interesting part about this car. Now the Dodge Viper actually has its engine taken out of a truck. Yep, that is pretty crazy, but that's not the reason it's in this video, because look at the door mirrors. Now, do you recognize these door mirrors? Because they actually come from the Mitsubishi 3000 GT, or the GT, one of them. I get these cars mixed up, but yeah, these are the door mirrors from the Viper. So yeah, the more you know. This is a GTO. What's the 3000 GT? It's so confusing, man. This car's so confusing. Now, on the Saleen S7, oh, stupid lamppost. Anyways, look at the taillights on the Saleen S7. Now, you might recognize these taillights because they were actually used on the Zonda, the McLaren F1, a bus, and even a tractor. Yep, I don't know why you would make such an expensive, fast car like this and then use the taillights from a bus, but yeah, it's a very funny feature about this car.